Hi everybody, welcome to this week's Technology Spotlight. We're going to look at a tool called Sketchboard, which is a tool used for mind mapping and diagramming, and you can collaborate with people online to create a mind map or a diagram. Then you can also export it as a picture and upload it into Canvas. And so I'm going to show you how to do all of those things. This is a freemium program, like most ed tech these days. Before I get into it, let me look at the pricing. This is what an example of a board looks like. When you first log into the program, then you'll get a board like this and it walks you through things. Before I get into that, let me look at the pricing. So there's a free version, which is the one that I use. I don't pay for a license quite yet, but if you justify it, then this is what you're looking at. There's a monthly bill of $8 a month or $16 for a team. That includes 3 people, $8 for additional people. If you pay annually, then you get a slight discount on that. And the differences between the free version and the paid version, the main differences that I see is that with the free version, you're limited to 3 boards, just like Padlet. If you pay any of the paid versions, then you get unlimited boards. With the paid versions, you can also upload images onto your sketchboard, which I think that's a big thing. When you export in the free version, it exports with a watermark, which to me is not a deal breaker. I don't think that's a big deal. But with the free version, you cannot export as a PDF. And those are the main, you get some more benefits if you go higher up in the plans, but that's the main breakdown is you only get 3 boards and you can't upload your custom pictures or export it as a PDF. So with that said, I'm in a free version right now, and this is what we're looking at. This is a diagram that is created for us, something that we can tinker with. And so I'll just walk through what we're seeing. Each of these elements are dynamic in that you can move them around and connect one thing to another thing. And if you make any changes, then it modifies the reporting lines. And so to add a shape, you can click anywhere on the canvas, and this is kind of like Prezi or Padlet that you get a canvas to work with. If I double click anywhere, then it'll connect whatever I was clicked on to something new. Go ahead and delete that. If I click on this little dot, for example, and double click anywhere, then I can have another activity. It says my activity. I can change that to, I don't know, something else. I can change the shape of it. You have a lot of shapes to work with. And on the right-hand side, I have a library of shapes. You go ahead and delete that so I can look at this. So they categorize the shapes for software, mind map, roadmap, general. And so you can see a lot of these different elements. As well, if I double click anywhere on the board, then I can see the elements too. And they refresh on the screen. You have smiley faces and you have logos and icons. As I keep scrolling down, it keeps refreshing. So there's a good library to choose from. Chances are you'll be able to find some kind of icon that works for you. So to add a shape anywhere on the canvas, you'll double click. If you have a shape and you want to edit it, you can double click on that shape and you can edit the text. You can change it to a different element. For example, I can change this to a diamond and I can change the shape of the diamond. I can move the diamond around. If I want to connect shapes, then I will click on a shape. There's a couple ways to do that. Once I have this selected, I can double click anywhere on the canvas and then I have, item number 1. And if I double click here, then I can have sub items. Now I have this selected. If I want a sister item, I hold shift on the keyboard and these little shortcuts you'll find out. So I can start branching, create a branching scenario. This one I changed to item number 2, for example, item number 3. And at any time I can change the icon. So I can change this to a person. It's kind of a wide person. So I'll just move that around. You can also create additional branching by clicking on the dots. When you click on an item, then there are 4 dots for northeast, southwest. And you can click on one of those and stretch it out manually to create something. And I can also click on the intersector line. I can say, I want this to branch to maybe this side, and I want it to come out like that. You notice when I click on it, there are several different buttons, several different ways that I can adjust the line. I can create it kind of straight like that, so I can make it, instead of rounded, I can make it more pointy. So there are a lot of options. I can delete certain points, focus like that. All right, so going sequentially here on this map, uploading images, custom images is something that you have with the paid version, unfortunately, and I have the free version, so I can't demonstrate that. But if you had any of the paid accounts, then you'd be able to upload your own image. You can also do freehand, which for me is awful. if I write my name, for example, it doesn't even look like my name. It doesn't even look like I can spell my name. So you have that freehand option. If I long click and drag to form a square, I can highlight the elements. And I can also change the width. How fine is the pen I'm writing with? Or do I want a highlighter? What kind of color am I interested in? And so then I can, freehand that way. There's also a tutorial. Let me walk through the tutorial real quick. When I click on this, it'll take me to a blank thing. So I'm going to walk through. I showed you a board that already had content. This just walks you through how to create a board. So I'm going to double click on this blank board anywhere, and I'm going to add a component. So this could be, I'm mind mapping the field of psychology. And I want to change that to something big, maybe 36 font. And I'm going to put that right in the middle. Now I want it to determine, what kind of fields of psychology are there. So I'm going to make a connection with this highlighted. I'm going to click over here and I'm going to say social psychology exists. And then I'm going to say clinical psychology, of course, exists. Oops, cancel auto forward. I'm going to keep working with this. So clinical. And then you have, let's see, I'll click on this and put forensics psychology. Think about what are the applications for your class. And I am going to get rid of this content right here. And I'm going to say that IO psychology is something and behavioral. All right. And then I can branch beyond that. I can say from IO, what is there? There's, business psych. I can have behavioral economics, and I can have org leadership. And this is looking ugly, but I can go back and rearrange these so that it looks however I want it. I can say, well, this is connecting on that side. I want this to connect from the top. And this one, I want to connect it from the top. So afterwards, you can go in and make those changes. When you long click, you have to click for like a second, and then you can select multiple things, and then you can move those things around as well. So I can change things up. At any time, I can change this from a rectangle, for example, to any one of these shapes. I could say, hey, this is business psych. Let's give them a computer monitor. Behavioral economics, let's give them, I don't know, a light bulb. I can change the colors as well. Let's give them a yellowish light bulb. You're not going to be able to see yellow, so let's just pretend and make it red. All right, so you can zoom out using the mouse wheel. You can drag the board to move the board around. I don't want to make us dizzy by doing too much of this. Now I'm still in the tutorial, so let's click on the next thing. Press Shift and drag to select over several items, or long press the left mouse button and click to drag. So I showed you that. You long press for a couple seconds, and then you can select multiple things, or I can hold Shift and I can drag, and then I can select many things. So you can see there's a lot of different flexibility, and I think that's the end of that tutorial. So now it's going to take me back out to the main board, and you can see me working on that. Let me just show you a couple of examples. This is hyperlinked. You can hyperlink the elements on your board. This is just gallery.sketchboard.me, and you can see a few different examples of what people have done. I think that a lot of computer programmers use Sketchboard on their teams as they're doing sprints and development cycles so that they can mark up flowcharts. Let's just take a look at this random one. It's in dark mode, unfortunately, but I can see, you register, upload a photo, change the password. It looks, I don't know, I'm trying to talk my way through this, but this is some kind of process map for whoever created this. And it looks like they have a lot of different feedback loops and such. So you could use this if you teach systems theory. If you teach any class that has a process, which is most of all of our classes, whether it's nursing or psychology or anything, this could be a good tool. And so before I get into Canvas, I'm going to hop over to a blank sketchboard, and I added a teammate to this sketchboard. So there are two people working on this. And on the left is one person, on the right is another person. And you can see if I double click and add something, then on the right, you can even see my mouse cursor as I move around the page. And you can see as I add content, what that looks like. And then on the right side, as I become this user, and if I add content over here, then you can see that on the left side, it happens synchronously in real time. So this is a great way for people to collaborate, and there's pretty much no delay in the data syncing over. As soon as you do something, the other person can see what's happening, which is great for collaboration projects. So that's an example of what it would be like to work with somebody. Now, I'll put a comment. Maybe I'll put lorem ipsum and save that. And then immediately on this other page, I can see there's a comment related to this aspect of the diagram or the mind map. So it's a great way to organize things. Again, I can move this to the northeast, southwest. I can put them all in the north. I can align these. There's a hand tool at the bottom here. When I click on that, it disables my function to be able to create things. All I do is move the board around. I can click the map view and it zooms right into all of the content, zoom back out. The freehand tool is so that I can draw and write. If you have a tablet, like a tablet that connects to the computer with a pen, then that might be an option. There's some other menu items over here worth exploring. I'm going to hop back over to this board right here. And even though this is just a dummy board, we're going to export this to see what it looks like. So you can add teammates. You can download it. I'm going to download it as a PNG. You have the options to download as a JPEG or PNG. You can download only selected shapes as well, or you can download everything. So let's do that as a PNG. Going to export that and hop over to a course. I have a course. All right, so it downloaded as some alphanumeric PNG, and I'm going to hop over to Canvas now. Something familiar. I have a page within the modules called Sketchboard Demo. It's blank. We're just going to add that image that we created. So I'm going to put my cursor where I want it and click on images. I'm going to upload the image to the course. I can choose a file. Maybe I want to put it on images. And I'm going to select downloads. And here's the download. The alt text is very important. I could say this is a mind map of whatever the course concept is. For alt text, you want it to be pretty simple. This is for accessibility purposes. For example, for a screen reader that needs to make sense of the image. And so you'll want it to be 1 or 2 sentences, not more than that. You want it to be descriptive. In fact, you don't want it to say, this is an image of something. No, I want to be a little more descriptive. So mind map of the course concept, and I could even describe it a little bit more, describing the process from A to C. If it's just decorative text, you can mark it as such, but I'm going to upload at this point. And here I have my image. So I'll go ahead and save and publish that. All right, so there's the image. Here's the watermark in the lower left-hand corner, sketchboard.io. I think it's discrete enough that it doesn't bother me, I would say, but it has all of the elements that we included on our mind map, the freehand drawings, all of the mappings. The disadvantage to this is it's an image, and so if you make any changes and you want to upload those changes into the Canvas course, you're going to have to save it again, and you're going to have to go into Canvas and upload it. It's not dynamic like other platforms like ThingLink or Padlet are. But still, if you were to use this as a class activity and then you wanted to upload, here's the final version of what you submitted, or give it as an assignment for students, say sign up for a Sketchboard account and diagram chapter 2 of the textbook, or diagram the process of, I don't know, selection for training and development, whatever it is you're working on, then you could have that and they could submit it as an assignment. In fact, you can, if you wanted it as an assignment, I would create an assignment, which would be how about your module 2 diagram? All of my text, my instructions here, do all of this stuff. It's worth 10 points online. And then I would say the type is not text entry, but I would say file uploads. And I would say you need to submit either a PNG or a JPEG. And then I would say save. Well, save and publish, I guess. And then the students, they would have to submit the PNG or the JPEG of their mind map. Another alternative, you can create a discussion thread as well, and their initial post is to diagram something. So maybe find a journal article, write up an annotated bibliography, and create a mind map of their research methodology. And then they can embed that as a picture into their discussion thread. And again, I hope that this session at least got you thinking about, discovering this tool for one, and then thinking about the various applications that we can use within our class. I'm not going to say you have to use it for this one function. It seems like a very versatile tool, and really your creativity and the imagination as you're creating assessments and content for your course really will dictate how you might use this. I think it's a fun tool. If you end up exploring this platform and using it in the class, I'd love to hear the applications that you use, and if you found it successful, interesting, and fun, engaging. Did it help you build a community within your classroom? I'd love to hear that. With that, I think I'll wrap up. I want to thank everybody for attending this webinar. We explored the platform Sketchboard as a diagramming and mind mapping tool. I hope it helps to enrich your classes. We hope to see you next week at our Canvas Hour. Thank you, everybody.